Hello there, good evening. Craigavon Area Hospital has declared it's under severe pressure with 138 patients in its emergency department and many waiting a long time to be admitted to a ward. It comes after severe pressures in the last 24 hours at the Ulster and Altnagelvin hospitals. A senior doctor has told BBC Newsline that in order to fix the crisis in emergency care, the crisis in community care needs urgent attention. Our health correspondent Mary-Louise Connolly has the story.
It's been a hectic, relentless few days for emergency departments. At one point late last night, 164 people were on seats and trolleys in the Ulster Hospital, with 53 of them waiting for a bed. A new day though, and that pressure has eased a little.
Things are calmer. I guess we have had a storm, but I think there's anticipation that there are going to be more storms in terms of delays in patients getting to the ward.
At lunchtime, ambulance bays across several hospitals, though, were visibly under pressure. At the Ulster Hospital, the flow of ambulances never ceased. To capture the pressure that emergency departments are under, just like this one, we asked permission to film inside. While on other occasions the answer has been yes, we're told not today, it's simply too busy. And staff are also under too much pressure to deal with a film crew. While the focus is on emergency departments, according to many, a huge part of the problem is connected to community care. Take Kathleen. She was able to be discharged from hospital as a care package was available at home.
Is 84, aren't you, Mama?
Mama. Oh, you don't look a day over 20.
This is the ideal scenario. More care packages available in the community means a lot more patients could be discharged from hospital, freeing up much needed beds. But according to some, there's a lack of planning.
We engaged with the Trust from June, July time to talk about winter pressures. Unfortunately, that engagement sometimes is quite slow to happen, and it's only when we're in crisis that we then start looking at the solutions. So we're actively engaged with a couple of the trusts. We've only very recently engaged with two of the other trusts, and one trust hasn't engaged at all. We just need to look at this in a much more strategic manner and find different types of solutions, because the current model is just really difficult.
There are calls for health trusts to act as one when tackling the emergency crisis. A so-called emergency summit last Wednesday decided hospitals should set aside areas where ambulances can offload elderly patients so they aren't left sitting in vehicles or in corridors. But according to this doctor, the real problem is in community care.
No, we don't have enough care packages in the community to deliver timely discharge of patients from hospital. Many patients want to live their last days of life at home, cannot do so, they end up in a hospital scenario. So we need to get more staff, better training, and we need also to upskill in terms of making it real for patients to have hospital at home can be real.
These problems aren't new and should come as no surprise to those in charge of the health service. It's hoped the same people can deliver practical solutions soon. Mary-Louise Connolly, BBC Newsline.
Well, now to the story of a little Ukrainian girl and her mother who escaped the war in their country to come to Northern Ireland. Daria and 4-year-old Vlada Yakovenko. Vlada is terminally ill. When they reached the Polish border earlier this year, by chance they met an aid worker from Warrenpoint, Jacinta Curran. She was so worried about Vlada's health, she brought them home with her. But they've had difficulty accessing medical care and a visa. BBC Newsline's Sarah Gervin reports.
This was the moment retired pharmacist Jacinta Curran met Vlada and Daria for the first time. Taking them home to Warrenpoint wasn't the plan, but Vlada has a rare genetic disorder and Jacinta believed getting her to Northern Ireland was a medical emergency. But because they came through Dublin and didn't apply in advance, they don't qualify for the Homes for Ukraine scheme. And without paperwork, Vlada waited 3.5 weeks for medical treatment in Northern Ireland.
It was very big stress for me and my daughter, because my daughter has serious disease. She needs constantly medicine and special food.
I honestly thought Vlada would die and that I would be held responsible for her death, because nobody would help us. I hadn't anticipated taking anybody home. It was the furthest from my mind. And then it just happened. What what was I supposed to do? Leave Daria with a very, very sick child at that stage. And really it was a matter of life and death.
Seen here at 2 years old, Vlada showed no signs of illness, but after turning 3, she was diagnosed with Batten disease, which will eventually prove fatal. Daria says the treatment her daughter is getting now is amazing, but her condition is progressing, and since coming to Northern Ireland, she's lost her sight.
It's my life. I don't want what I will be doing without here. So sad. Life better here. I think my daughter in Ukraine died.
With the medical battle over, another battle awaited, a legal one for a visa. Vlada and Daria's leave to stay was due to expire on November 22nd, the day after Vlada's 5th birthday.
The biggest birthday present that she could have and Daria could have would be that somebody would grant a visa for a 2-year or 3-year stay. I don't know what the term would be, the length of time would be, but please God, just somebody do something. It's just, it's not fair. It is totally unjust.
Daria and Vlada had applied to stay in Northern Ireland under the Ukraine Extension Scheme, and after months of uncertainty, there was news just this afternoon from the Home Office following a query from BBC Newsline. Their visa has been extended until November 2025. After months of trauma, at last, some hope. Sarah Garvin, BBC Newsline in Warrenpoint.
And you can see more on Vlada and Daria's journey from Ukraine on the BBC iPlayer in Spotlight's War Inside the Refugee Crisis. The Secretary of State has asked for more time to consider if there should be an investigation or a public inquiry into whether the 1998 Omagh bomb was preventable. Chris Heaton-Harris had an hour-long meeting with some of the families of the 29 people who were killed. Afterwards, Michael Gallagher, whose son died in the bombing, described the meeting as productive and said they accepted the Secretary of State needed more time to assess the case.
We have agreed that, yes, that is something we would want them to see and we would want them to make the right decision. But we told them that it was hugely important we get the right decision here. We certainly don't want a reinvestigation because we've had many of those. We need a public inquiry. We need an opportunity for people to come forward and tell their story, what happened.
To sport now, and in Northern Ireland's women's football team had a big win tonight when they beat Italy 1-0 in their international friendly at Seaview. The only goal of the game was scored by Sarah McFadden midway through the second half. The match was Northern Ireland's first at home since before the Euro finals in July and was the perfect sign-off to 2022 for Kenny Shields' side. And in this evening's County Antrim Shield semi-finals, Linfield had a 2-1 win over Glentoran at Windsor Park, while Larne beat Dundela 3-0. The weather's next. Here's Cecilia.
Hello there. Quite chilly in some places tonight, particularly across the west where the clearest skies are likely. Temperatures could drop to 2 or 3 degrees. A little bit more cloud in the east, some showers moving north and 1 or 2 could be on the sharp side. So a chilly enough start to Wednesday. It will be a largely dry and bright day once again, but there'll be some early showers and they're more likely in the east. They should move on quite quickly though. Skies brightening up, some sunshine, small amounts of cloud. Temperatures slightly down on today, so out of the sun it will feel cool, but the breeze fortunately will be very light. As we look ahead to Thursday though, we are expecting the breeze to pick up, especially along the east coast where most of the wet weather will be. Further west, a lot of dry weather brightening up too, some showers across the west coast of Ireland. Now on Friday, most of Northern Ireland will be dry and bright, just the odd shower. A little bit cool again out of the sun and in the breeze, and some frost to come on Saturday morning before the rain moves in later in the day.
There you have it. That's it for now. Our next television news is at 6:25, of course, in the morning for you. Until then, you can keep up to date with the BBC News NI website and with Radio Ulster. Bye-bye for now.